that older generation and the loyalists. So we are excited to tell you a story of what we found and where we plan to take Lipton.
So how we started was we wanted to gauge where Lipton was compared to its competitors in the eyes of millennials. So we had a focus group, and we asked questions like, what adjectives come to mind when you think of these brands? What colors come to mind? What animal would you associate with these brands? And what we found was that every single other competitive brand has a very strong personality except for Lipton. So Snapple, quirky, people could immediately think of the glass bottle and the fun packs on the lids. For Arizona, they were like cool, they thought cool, the big 99-cent cans forever and always, snowboarding, surfing, that kind of thing. For Pure Leaf, it was the health conscious people who said they drank it, only 3 ingredients in most of the bottles, very natural. And for Lipton, even though everybody knew who Lipton was, everybody knew it was an iced tea brand, like everyone had heard of it, they didn't have any strong associations with it. We also noticed the same thing kind of echoed on social media when we did some social listening. All the other brands really post a lot, and everything they post is engaging and really reflects their personality, and Lipton's just falling a little short there. You can see that reflected here in this Wordle as well. How this works is when we talked about Lipton, the more times a word was said, the bigger it is. So overall, even though everyone knew who Lipton was, they thought the brand was very average, and there aren't any strong personality words or adjectives coming out of here. You can see the word unfamiliar is pretty big, and that's not because people didn't know what Lipton was. It was because they couldn't really picture the logo or the bottle or the different flavors they had. A couple people said classic because they knew their grandparents drank it, so they know it must have been around for a long time. But that's kind of it. It wasn't anything very strong.
So after we did social listening and focus groups, we found out that Lipton doesn't have a strong presence amongst millennials. So basically it is a blank canvas, so we can make up of anything we want to out of Lipton.
Okay, so we have this conclusion that we came to. We said, let's just go back to our target market and to who we really want to look at here and figure out where they can fit in with Lipton and what Lipton can be for them and do for them in ways that other iced tea brands are not already present. So this is just some of our secondary research about the things that millennials really value in life and what they give importance. So you can see experiences, expressive and optimistic, just positivity, they seek peer affirmation, and that just kind of showed us some things about them. And we wanted to take these values and see how they really played out in the everyday lives of millennials. So we did some personal research of our own, and we spent our own daily lives just going to class, going to lunch, walking around campus, just observing millennials and doing some social listening. And the one thing that really stood out that overlapped with everyone was that millennials love to stick things on all of their personal belongings, whether it's their laptops, their water bottles, their phones, even their backpacks. They all kind of somehow gave it their own personal touch with these stickers of logos and brands and phrases, and they all represented things that the millennials just really liked, or parts of their personality and their lifestyle choices, and these were the things they wanted to include on their belongings to just show other people when they brought them around, and we really thought that this was key. And then when we looked back at these values from our secondary research, we realized that this observation completely aligned with the fact that millennials value being connected and wanting a personal touch. So this was where it really started to come together for us, and we found ourselves on the way to something.
So here, after we looked at all this personal touch and millennials value being very personalization, we digged a little deeper, we did some exploratory research, and then we did focus group 2, where we took an exploratory route, where we asked millennials about what would be iced tea would you like to have, and what do you perceive a good iced tea. So we asked them a couple of questions regarding, we gave them different options of brands, products, and different experiences they would like to do. So for example, one of the participants said we would like to run, go hiking or surfing, and then brands like Lululemon and other Nike that showed up. So then we asked them after the focus group, why did you pick these kind of brands, products, or any experiences? One thing everyone said that these all things which they mentioned were all aligned to summer. So basically every millennial who spends their summer in different ways, they want to experience hiking, someone wants to do go to different music concerts or different things. So it was basically the summer, everyone.
Yeah, so none of the words are actually any bigger than any of the other words because people picked all sorts of different things, but everyone said that the things they picked reflected summer. So after we did this, we pulled together all of our research, everything we learned about millennials, everything that we observed about them, and we came to this big nugget of insight that really helped us take our next steps. And that is that millennials personalize every aspect of their lives to fit in the lives that they desire. So whether it's the decorating their laptops or their phone cases, or the clothes they wear, or the food and drink that they choose to carry around with them and eat, it all reflects who they are, who they want to be, who they want people to see them as. So we wanted to see, how can we get this nugget about millennials, which is our target market, how can we get that to intersect with this blank canvas that Lipton is? Where can we position Lipton, and how can we position Lipton so that it really aligns with with this personalization factor about millennials? So the first thing we did was create a brand essence for our new Lipton brand. So these are 4 words that we picked and we referred to every time we came up with a new creative idea or campaign idea, to make sure that every single thing we were putting the Lipton logo on was representing the true essence of the brand that we really want to create. So we picked, the first word we picked was classic. So a couple people said classic in the focus group, like I said, but really we know that Lipton really cares about its history and its tradition, and that's something that we definitely want to hold on to, along with not alienating its loyalists. Obviously, we don't want to just completely switch to millennials. So we really want to keep that classic Lipton, but we didn't want to stop there. So we want our brand to motivate its consumers, and we want to inspire millennials who, whether they're just starting college or they're just starting a family, are all at this new stage of their lives. And they have all these opportunities ahead of them. And we want to motivate them to, seek out those opportunities and seize them and aspire to be more. And we kind of want to be a crutch along with them to help them do this. But the whole time, we want Lipton to be an extension of themselves while they're doing this. So we want them to have Lipton by their side the whole time and know that it's just for them. No matter what they personally want to do, Lipton is going to be there for them.
So taking all of this into consideration, we came up with our overarching creative promotional strategy, which is Carpe Diem, Seize Your Tea. This is our strategy that really sets hold of our brand essence and starts getting millennials more involved in Lipton as a brand. So we have created 3 aspects or styles of summer: the festival free spirit, the adrenaline junkie, and the relaxation guru. Now these names are just internal for us to organize based on categorizing and setting out social media. We don't want to put millennials in a box. We don't want them to make them feel like they have to sit into only one of these categories. We want to give them the opportunity to choose whether it's they're relaxing on the beach in the morning and then going on a hike in the evening. We want them to be able to change with Lipton.
So getting into the creative aspect of things, kind of like capitalizing on the personalities, this is just kind of some mock-ups that we made for each of the personalities. So you can see, this is the Festival Free Spirit. So this is, you can find them at music festivals, arts festivals, anything creative. They're artsy, they like to express themselves, and that's just how that's their style of summer. So the second personality that we came up with is the Adrenaline Junkie. So this is the thrill seeker. They love being outdoors, they love exploring, they love being active, and they seize every opportunity they see to go on an adventure. The third personality is the Relaxation Guru. So they see summer as an opportunity to kind of relax and rejuvenate. So they reflect. You can find them doing yoga on the beach, reading a book. They ultimately just want their summer to be stress-free. So in the creative, we really wanted to make sure we were capturing the brand essence. So there are various elements I'm going to point out to you specifically in the creative that kind of reflected the brand essence. So the classic is the presence of the original logo. You can see in all of the mock-ups we've made, we still kept the original logo. There's just the photography behind and different designs that go with it. The aspire aspect comes from the photography, because when you're, rather than having designs or patterns, you're looking at actual photographs, and it kind of evokes emotion in the consumer and inspires them to make their own aspirations. The seizing opportunities aspect is illustrated by the hands. So if you see in each of the mock-ups, there's a hand doing some form of reaching. So this comes in all of the different ones, either they're climbing, skydiving, whatever it is, but we use the hands to symbolize just seizing the opportunities rather than just seeing that they're around you, but actually reaching out and grabbing them.
And then the personalization factor comes in with the different mandala or circular patterns that come behind the logo. So they look all unified because they come together with the logo, but they have their own, they're different in their own way, and that makes them personalized. So getting into the second step in the creative process is the label redesign. So these are actually the outsides of the labels that we've created for each of the personalities. So the top one is the Festival Free Spirit, the middle one is the Adrenaline Junkie, and the bottom one is the Relaxation Guru. And again, we just want to emphasize that we're not trying to, the consumer will never see those actual titles because we don't want them to feel like they have to be one of the three. Like I'm all three of them, I think. That's how I like to spend my summer. So it's just a way it's a way to like internally organize how our branding will come out. And we want to be able to have millennials look at it and take from it whatever they take from it in their own way. So you can also see there's this tab along the sides. So this is actually the interactive portion of our creative. So if you actually, the top one says experience inside, the middle adventure inside, and the bottom one's relaxation inside. So this goes with the interactive portion because if you actually peel it off the bottom, you get the inside of the label. So the top one is the Festival Free Spirit. So they get a summer playlist because they're all about music and expressing themselves and the artistic aspect of it. The middle one is a summer bucket list because they're the thrill seekers. So they're going to go skydiving, hiking, surfing. That's their thing. The bottom one is the Relaxation Guru. So we provided a tiny crossword that they can do on the beach. And this just kind of allows them to interact and kind of think of Lipton more than just a package, but we're providing them this wonderful entertainment. And we're also going to change different insides, so it could be something different each time. It's not always going to be a playlist or a bucket list or a crossword puzzle. Like it could be something different. And also the contest and kind of like for promotional purposes comes into play because if we wanted to do free ticket giveaway or like tickets to the beach, plane tickets to the beach, anything like that, that can be featured on the inside of the label as well, so like to see if you win, that kind of thing. And that ties into our social media.
So we obviously know this is a very drastic change, and we don't expect this to happen overnight at all. So we've created a few mock-ups to start implementing the changes just so millennials and other consumers know that change is coming. So on this side we have a Twitter, and on the other side it's an Instagram. And also our captions are encouraging interaction because we see that Lipton is falling short often with that where other brands are excelling. So we want to start encouraging the hashtags and the questions. So for example, for Twitter, the hashtag Sunday Fun Day, it's an already very well-established hashtag. And so by just tweaking it a little bit to making the sun all capitalized, which doesn't change, it would all go to the same spot, but then you would see the differentiation between Lipton users and regular hashtag Sunday Fun Day users. Also, we've created a TC video for you as well. We feel like this is extremely popular among millennials, and it's just another way for them to aspire to be better cooks or whatever they decide to do. So we are going to play that for you right now. This recipe that we did provide. We did take that into consideration before taking this recipe, and we took a little research because we didn't want to seem like it was a huge risk factor with doing this, because this would be promoted as a Lipton branded content. So we don't want to seem like we're pushing away consumers. So we took that into consideration, and we found that in 2012, 83% of millennials were 21 years old or older, and that was 4 years ago. So it wouldn't be that big of a risk because the majority, if not all, in a couple of years of millennials will be able to consume alcohol.
I don't know where it is.
Full screen.
Yeah. There we go.
Nope.
No,
don't
click
click
it.
No, just click on the screen. Just click on the screen.
Okay, and then hit next.
There
we go. Okay.
Sorry.
So we have also created a mock-up of a Snapchat Geo Lens, which would be promoted by Lipton. This first one is, again, modeled by lovely Travis back there. So this first one, we've actually created two for you. This first one is just the beginning of social media implementation, where change is coming. We're just trying to be cooler and relate to millennials a little bit better. So when you open your mouth, the Lipton pours into your mouth, and then you get sunglasses to represent summer. And then the next one is actually taking the aspects of the various forms of summer. So you have the adventure, the relax, and the experience. You could either send the entire Snapchat to your friends, or you can screenshot it and send which part you represent the most.
So going along with this new introduction of the personalities, and kind of going along with picking social media that's more engaging, like Snapchat, we went ahead and created some Buzzfeed articles. So one reason we picked Buzzfeed was because they do branded content rather than on Facebook or Instagram where it's just kind of an ad and it's just kind of there in your way. With Buzzfeed, it's actually things that are worth reading that consumers actually click on. I know personally I love the branded content. You know, I don't find it any different than the regular articles. So we created one for each personality. The top one is for the Adrenaline Junkie, someone who's like bursting to get out of school, ready to get out of work and go on their summer vacation. We were gonna come up with words like suntastic and funitude and come up with definitions for what they mean. For 10 places you'd rather be in your conference room, kind of that like the free spirit who's like ready to be at that music festival, you know, planning their outfits for Coachella. And the last one's for the relaxation guru. Like do-it-yourself projects are really big on BuzzFeed and on Pinterest as well. So those are just some ideas we came up with. So Katie mentioned this before, but one thing we really wanted to do to go along with the labels and to get millennials to just try the product just once was this label contest. So what happens is if you peel off your label, which you're gonna do anyway to see all the awesome stuff inside, and you hold it up to the sun, it's gonna tell you whether or not you won. And your prize is going to be based off of whatever personality you chose. So if you picked one of the adventure ones, it's going to be, a skydiving trip. Or if you picked the relaxation guru, maybe it's a trip to the Bahamas. I know these are like big prizes, but and maybe if it's the Festival Free Spirit, it's tickets to Firefly or Coachella, something like that. And the cool thing about this contest is that it's easy. I mean, maybe someone's at the counter and they just want to drink for the day. And, there's no harm in picking something where like, oh, I don't really have to do any work, and who knows, maybe I'll get to go to the Bahamas next week. So it's just kind of to try and get them to like try at least once, kind of grab that bottle one time and get hooked because it's so good. So another thing we wanted to do was, we noticed that Lipton was out, don't worry, it'll make sense when I explain it. When we noticed that Lipton was out South by Southwest, but all they really did was hand out the bottles of sparkling iced tea. So we really see this and other big events like that as an opportunity to really engage with consumers. So this idea that we came up with for South by Southwest or other events, concerts, maybe at amusement parks, is an interactive mural. So it's going to be a partially painted mural of a sunrise, and we're going to hand out bottles of Lipton. And when they're done with their bottles, they come back, they recycle it, but they take the lid and they write an aspiration of theirs on the lid, and then they stick it on the mural to help finish the painting. And the more people who take Lipton and have aspirations and stick it on the mural, the sooner it becomes done, and the sooner it's a beautiful sunrise. And this is really a great opportunity for consumer-generated marketing as well, because it's going to be really cool. So people are going to want to take pics with it and Instagram it and post it on Twitter and all that stuff.
Okay, so just kind of wrap up, we just want to say that bring our brand essence back and kind of remember that. The classic aspect of, this is all reflected back in with millennials. So the classic aspect of our brand essence, it goes back to how Lipton has commitment to their tradition and their roots, and they care about their history, just like millennials care about their roots and their history. And they take their experiences and how they grew up, and they aspire. They take it with them in life and they aspire. So as they're thinking about their life aspirations and their career aspirations, they see that there is opportunities surrounding them all the time. And just like that, there is opportunities for Lipton as well. Lipton has the opportunity to paint their blank canvas in this situation. And Lipton comes into play here to encourage millennials not just to see that there's opportunities there, but to actually reach out and seize those opportunities. And ultimately, as it all comes together, you're left with this personalization trend, this strong personalization trend. And the personalization aspect goes with the brand essence. Again, all of these are reflected back with millennials. So you're all, as the story kind of like unfolds, you're left with a personalized self and a personalized Lipton. Thank you.